boy walking in the rain, looking heartbroken, is Otto. He's not actually heartbroken because Krat rejected him 18 times, but because the rain reminds him of a sad event from his past. No matter how much more the rain falls, it still can't fill his heart. As Otto reached a crossroads, the space around him began to change. A small child ran past him, but he pretended not to see anything and kept walking. Behind him were two kids who looked just like main characters, one with blue hair, the other with red. They then boarded a train. Suddenly, a man rushed to the front of the train. He mumbled about finding something and wanting to change the rotten world he lived in. His hands started to burn, terrifying everyone around him. Accidentally, it caught the attention of the two kids and Otto. Near the fire-wielding maniac, a girl wasn't running away. He asked the girl if she believed in the existence of the Holy Gate. Seeing the girl confused, wondering if this guy was high, the fire wielder gave her a history lesson. In ancient times, when the three worlds merged into one, humanity was granted 6 unique powers. Since then, true users have been summoned by the Holy Gate, a place where all wishes come true. He insisted he wasn't high, calling it an ancient fairy tale. Basically, this guy wanted those without powers to worship those with power like him. An old man tried to flee but was instantly turned into action sound. The fire wielder killed people without batting an eye, even laughing because he thought it was right. Just as he was about to attack the girl, Otto stepped forward. It looked like his hand also possessed a power. The fire wielder called him Thitch Heap and shot fire at him, but Otto blocked it with water. When the maniac lunged to attack, Otto transformed the water in his hand into a blade and slashed across the maniac's stomach. That's when the two kids appeared. The blue-haired girl introduced herself as being from the World Council and wanted to capture Otto. But before she could act, an announcement rang out. Nanshan has entered position and begun area creation. A virtual arena was created for Otto and the two kids. But Otto chose not to fight and decided to leave. The red-haired kid warned Otto that if he left like this, he'd violate a law called the driver ownership law. Otto calmly replied that he didn't have a driver. However, the blue-haired girl told the red-haired boy to worry about the fire wielder first, as he was severely injured. At this moment, we learn why Otto hates walking in the rain. It's connected to the death of his parents. The mysterious boy appeared before Otto again. The boy warned that the Holy Gate had always appeared before Otto, yet he hadn't seized the opportunity. At the World Council Academy, the subway incident was announced throughout the academy. The two kids were inadvertently praised by everyone for apprehending the culprit. Both rushed into the elevator. They were also curious about Otto's identity. As soon as they exited the elevator, the blue-haired girl urged the red-haired boy to chase after her. The red-haired boy still couldn't believe Otto didn't possess a driver, while the blue-haired girl only felt a killing intent from Otto's eyes. The two then ran to a stadium. Then, a spirit beast called Bon appeared. It checked the security camera footage of the subway incident. Watching the video again, the blue-haired girl sensed deep suffering in Otto's eyes. She wondered if he had seen the Holy Gate. However, the red-haired boy still dismissed it as fantasy and not real. At this moment, we learn the red-haired boy is Aiken and the blue-haired girl is Midori. Midori argued that Aiken was lying to himself, because if he didn't believe in the Holy Gate, why would he join here? At the same time, at the council, it was revealed that the attacker was a demon who came to the human world to sign a work contract. 2 years ago, he was also a Thitch who. The reason for his assault might be related to a nervous disorder due to his inability to adapt to the human world environment. The white-haired person assigned a girl named Kai. Based on what the man did, she was to determine his punishment. As for Otto, they still hadn't found his identity. The white-haired person wanted to find him and recruit him to the academy. Most people disliked the murderous aura Otto emitted, but the white-haired person assured them. So they all complied. At Otto's school, this guy has a cold personality, so even his food has to be cold. Ramen with ice in it. Now that's something else. Looking around, Otto seemed to be isolated at school. There were rumors that he was the one who killed his own parents. They based their judgment on baseless rumors, calling Otto a monster. Otto hates rain, but he wishes the storm would grow even stronger. He wants it to become a flood that sweeps everything away. But it can't extinguish the fire of hatred within him. Back at the academy, Aiken and Midori went to meet their master. Aiken spoke arrogantly and was punished by his master. They were both summoned because of Otto. Aiken's master stated that Otto would become their teammate in the future. The academy sent him a recruitment letter, but he refused. So both of them were tasked with convincing Otto to join the academy. Since the water fairy had acted, they needed to hurry. Hearing the name Otto, Aiken found it very familiar. According to his master, for years ago, Otto exploded in the media for murdering his own parents. As for Otto, he met the water fairy. This wasn't her first time here. Still, like the previous invitation, his answer was no. However, the water fairy believed she could save him, so she wanted him to try the academy just once. Afterward, Otto went to meet Arthur, the academy's principal. He got straight to the point and handed Otto a device. This is called a driver. This driver was specially designed just for him. According to Arthur, Otto's power was attracting greater powers to converge in one place. If he faced powerful individuals without a driver's support, he would hardly survive. But Otto refused and left. Arthur said this was the truth, and if he wanted to know it, he should return to meet him. As he stepped out of the room, Otto met Aiken and Midori again. Of course, they came to recruit him to the academy. We also learned that students at the academy are called Thitch Heap instead of cadets. Midori invited Otto to tour the academy, but Aiken got straight to the point. He just wanted to know if Otto was interested in joining, otherwise, he wouldn't press the issue. Otto only gave a vague answer and left. Midori mentioned the holy gate, and she was sure he had seen it. Otto confirmed he had seen it many times, but he had no wish to make to touch it. At this moment, Aiken's obnoxious voice rang out again. He'd heard about Otto's case, but he didn't care if it was true or not. He just wanted to know what kind of person Otto was. In response to that insolence, Otto bluntly stated that he was the one who harmed his parents, then walked away. The heavy rain still fell. The boy from before reappeared. Otto asked what the boy wanted, and the boy just smiled. The boy knew Otto was a liar. He said he killed them, but that wasn't actually true. He couldn't eat hot food because his parents never cooked for him. On the outside, he was cold, but inside, he was very deprived. How did the boy know? Because he witnessed everything himself. For years ago, Otto truly had a family, but his parents loved his younger brother more than him. Understanding that parents favor one child is one thing, but in this case, they built a separate warehouse for Otto to live apart from the family. His food was just soup and bread, no different from prison. Otto lived his days in loneliness like that. One stormy day, his food for the day was eaten by a stray dog. He didn't mind giving it to the dog. Suddenly, his younger brother appeared. He knew Otto wanted to scream. He knew Otto wanted to kill those two. He sensed the deep chill in Otto's heart. He could save him, but he didn't want to. He wanted Otto to struggle in despair, and the boy witnessed it all. What about Arthur? He managed to touch the holy gate, and when he stepped in, the world on the other side was an apocalypse. A blazing red fire brings us back to Aiken's story. As a child, he loved watching his father train. His father's flame radiated warmth to him. His father's fire was also the light that guided young Aiken to find his own path, a path his deceased father couldn't complete. Waking from his dream, Aiken reunited with Midori and the water fairy. The water fairy wanted to splash him awake. However, he was very annoyed and left. Otto's words that day still bothered him, simply because Aiken saw family as everything, while Otto seemed to disregard it. And they were like fire and water, completely different. At the principal's office, Arthur met a guy named Loki. He brewed Arthur a cup of coffee. He came because he heard Arthur was about to recruit more members for the academy. Whatever interested Arthur also interested Loki, he said, then left. Where Otto was, he often fed stray animals bread and milk. At this moment, the boy appeared again. The boy continued to play on Otto's fears. Bread and milk were things that brought back his painful past. The boy argued that if something was in the past, nothing could change it. As soon as the boy left, the water fairy group came to find Otto. Before he could say anything, Midori cut in, inviting him to the academy. She noticed the cats really liked Otto, but he just thought they clung to him because he liked feeding them. Aiken's big mouth spoke up again. Did he think Otto liked cats to feed them? Otherwise, why would he? He reasoned that if someone betrayed their own expectations, it was 100 times worse. But the water fairy didn't see it as betrayal. Everyone has a kind side, but they can't always be good. Because she believes no one can control themselves all the time, let alone when they're kids. I see these strangers keep coming to my house to invite you. Otto asked if going there would allow him to change. Midori wondered what Otto wanted to change, but he remained silent, which worried her greatly. Because Midori had also experienced something similar. Otto still didn't answer, making Aiken furious, and he left. The boy appeared and pointed out that Aiken's hot temper would be his weakness. Looking around, Aiken noticed that such a dilapidated area still existed in the city. He thought the council had reconstructed everything. The reason he joined the academy was because of his deceased father. His father was praised as a genius of the saints and had power even beyond the council. But during a mission, he lost his life. The council claimed it was a laboratory accident, but he didn't believe it. Aiken was determined to uncover the truth the council was hiding. As for Otto, Midori hoped he would be understanding towards Aiken. Losing a father he admired, it's hard to control oneself. Otto thought it was because he had harmed his parents, but Midori didn't believe he had done it. The water fairy empathized with Otto's suffering. She promised to see him next time and left with Midori. The boy appeared again. It's hard to accept this, but the boy had to say it. The boy noticed Aiken had a curious personality, just like Otto. So, he should follow him. Following Aiken might help him or not, but things would definitely change. But if he remained silent, nothing would ever change. As for Aiken, he was walking through the slums when a begging child approached him for money. He intended to give some, but then remembered the lecture he gave Otto earlier and stopped. He asked where the boy's parents were, and the boy replied they were both busy. When Otto arrived, the boy ignored Aiken and rushed towards him. The two knew each other because Otto often brought food for the boy. Today Otto didn't bring food, so he would take the boy to eat. Aiken again thought Otto only liked the feeling of giving. That's why he fed them. Otto didn't stay silent this time and retorted, "Didn't you just intend to do the same?" Caught in his own logic, Aiken changed the topic, asking why the boy's parents didn't take care of him and left him begging on the streets. This kid hasn't stepped into the world yet, so he doesn't understand life's realities. Every home, every flower, every scene. If everyone was happy and well-fed, Batman wouldn't bother punching criminals every night. Aiken still wouldn't listen. He said he would go find the boy's parents. Otto asked, "And what will you do next?" Force them to send the kid to school for 12 years just to see him fall for some girl. Their argument was halted by a patrolling driver moving through the neighborhood. Suddenly, Loki started messing with the robot. It unexpectedly switched to combat mode and attacked everyone around. When Aiken called the council, they claimed no driver was malfunctioning. Only when he sent them a video did they send aid. As for the beggar, he was too scared and ran into a house. The driver sensed movement and attacked, so the boy was trapped in the rubble. At that moment, his father limped towards them. He wanted to save his son, but his leg wouldn't allow it, and Aiken just stood there, shouting at him to save his son. A moment later, the council announced that the area had been set up. Then, a battle arena appeared. Midori also arrived to assist. Aiken told Otto to leave and put out the fire first. He also gave him a driver. Otto took it and ran off. At this moment, Aiken and Midori activated their own drivers. Midori's was a spear, and Aiken's was a pair of gloves. Outside, Otto also used his driver, a sword. With just one slash, he created a rainstorm to extinguish the fire. After dealing with the robot, Aiken and Midori stepped out to rescue the boy. Not sure if Aiken had a problem with his eyes, but he rushed over to question the boy's father about why he didn't save his son. He needed Otto to set him straight. That lame leg was the result of a gas explosion. Since then, the father had developed pyrophobia. That's called unconscious fear. The father knew he had to save his son, but that unconscious fear overwhelmed him, so he couldn't do it. Otto understood very well because he was taught that when he was young. Upon hearing his son's voice, the father finally regained consciousness, and he wanted to rush to his son. But the son was afraid of his father after the incident. He repeatedly apologized to his son. Seeing this scene, a tiny neural connection in Aiken's brain activated. He advised the boy to go to his father, saying that if he was afraid now, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Otto also advised the boy, and he ran to his father. The boy appeared next to Otto again. The boy started to pick apart Otto's reasoning. Someone with good awareness isn't necessarily a good person, because unconsciously, they might perform bad actions. The boy knew Otto's consciousness was very pure, but it was quickly tainted by those who abandoned him. The boy revealed that in that family, not only he was betrayed, but his younger brother was too. Otto remembered that rainy day. Back then, he only heard his parents' screams, and when he ran to them, they were already dead. His younger brother stood in the rain, letting it wash away the bloodstains. His face remained expressionless as he looked at Otto. He said goodbye to him and walked away. And when he took his brother's hand, he saw the holy gate. In the end, he still couldn't hold on to his brother. Returning to the present, Otto decided to join the academy. Arthur was delighted to receive two pieces of good news at once. First, Otto had come to the academy. Second, he had found the key to open the holy gate, which would also lead them to it. Everyone was thrilled because they all had unanswered questions. After the three left, Arthur called Loki and another person named Ossur. Ossur seemed to have mind-reading abilities, so he already knew about the key leading to the holy gate. Ossur was sure the council would object to this. Arthur stated he wasn't proposing, but informing them. Whether they objected or not, he would still proceed. Loki followed Arthur, while Ossur was still unsure. However, looking at Arthur's determined face, Ossur agreed to follow him. Ossur promised to help him at all cost. Then he left to organize the meeting. Elsewhere, Midori was training harder than usual today, and the boy watched from afar. The boy stated that Midori was struggling between the unconscious and conscious mind. In Midori's heart, there was only a desire for herself to be stronger. She kept attacking even after the time's up announcement. Only when a teacher appeared did Midori stop. That night, the academy held a welcome party for Otto. Midori brought him food, but he refused because he couldn't eat hot food. His heart always rejected warmth. Also because he feared that once he understood what kindness and comfort were, he was afraid he wouldn't be able to control himself and would crave it. At that moment, a friend accidentally broke a glass of water, interrupting Otto's thoughts. A little later, the same friend approached to ask Otto what he wanted to find the holy gate for. Otto didn't want to answer, so Midori interjected to talk. When the party ended, only Midori and Aiken remained to clean up. Midori played rock, paper, scissors, and whoever lost had to stay and clean. Only Midori lost, so Aiken had to stay in Fukuoka. He wondered why she always had to run and wanted to be first. At this moment, Midori began to tell her story. When she was a child, Midori had a very close friend. They often went to summer festivals together. Both also heard about the holy gate through stories. Midori at that time had nothing she wished for. Her friend, however, only wanted their friendship to last forever. Midori also promised her friend that. Little did Midori know, that promise had made her friend's heart blind. As they grew up, Midori and her friend remained close. At the beginning of the school year, Midori was still very unfamiliar, but gradually she made many new friends, and the distance between Midori and her friend slowly grew. And then, that summer festival, Midori and her group of friends planned to hang out, and she also wanted to invite her friend. Walking home together, Midori invited her friend. However, her friend didn't want to know anyone else besides Midori. She only needed Midori. She wanted to be number one in Midori's heart. Her friend reminded Midori of their childhood promise. Midori hesitated, disappointing her friend, who then left. That night, Midori texted her an apology. However, her friend said she wouldn't attend the summer festival. She would go to a place to make a wish. When Midori asked where her friend was going, she received no answer. And then the day of the festival arrived. While having fun, Midori heard about a disappearance on a nearby mountain. Hearing that, she immediately ran there. There were many police officers around. Midori struggled to push through and reached a cliff. And then a light appeared behind that mountain. It wasn't the sun, but the holy gate had appeared. Midori only managed to see it clearly before passing out. From that day on, she never saw her friend again. And the reason Midori had to find the holy gate was because she believed her friend was behind that gate. Otto also heard Midori's story. At Arthur's end, the meeting was held. After the announcement, Most agreed to the timeline for finding the Holy Gate, so the meeting ended early. The next morning, Otto began training. The boy appeared again to mess with Otto's mind. The boy suggested Otto was hesitant about making a wish. If he met his brother, he wouldn't know what to do. Otto didn't want to find the Holy Gate, but the boy didn't think so. If he didn't want to find it, why did he come to the academy? Midori and Aiken watched from afar, thinking Otto was an eccentric person talking to himself. Midori then pulled Aiken to the library to research Otto's case. But when they typed Otto's name, the security system activated and denied further access. At Arthur's place, he also heard the announcement, but he was busy paying attention to the latest auto driver model under development. All council members were there to observe. However, one person had been absent for several days. Arthur didn't care and let him do whatever he wanted. As for Otto, after finishing his training, he returned home to get ready for school. Today, a surveillance machine was still following him. Otto's monitor was a member of the council. This guy believed Otto killed his father, so he had to find evidence to arrest him. After arriving at school, Midori and Aiken came to ask Otto if he had any connection to the council. He asked why they were investigating him. Aiken, though brash, was kind-hearted. He just wanted to help Otto in some way, which is why he went to investigate his past. Midori introduced Otto to the school's social media page. He could write whatever he liked and post it there. Of course, Otto was uninterested and left. The two quickly followed him. At this moment, Midori received a message sent from someone named Blue Wildcat. It was known that this person had a way to access confidential council information. Aiken was hesitant, but Midori still clicked to see the details. Confidential information could only be accessed by a few people, so they needed to get that person's pass card. So the two sneaked into the water fairy's room to search. After searching for a while, they found it just as the water fairy returned. Out of options, Midori had to take out her favorite cake to lure the water fairy. Taking advantage of the moment, Aiken snatched the card. After using it, they gained access to Otto's information. While searching, they suddenly discovered that Otto's case was linked to the Blue Christmas case. 2 years ago, two armed assassins killed 666 innocent people. The suspects had not yet been caught. A witness recounted that one of the two killers was a blonde boy using a knife made of water. The name Otto appeared on the suspect list, but there was no evidence. First, accused of killing his parents, then a suspect in a mass murder, his numbers match up. When Midori wanted to access more, she needed higher clearance. Just then, both of them were discovered. Aiken realized he was a member of Arthur's team. As for Otto, the Wildcat texted him again. He knew who Otto truly was and wanted Blue Christmas to happen again. Otto followed the address to find him. Back to the Blue Christmas incident. On a Christmas night, like every year, suddenly an entire shopping mall turned blue, and then Otto appeared from above. When a guard arrived, he swung his sword, killing him, and then Otto began to slaughter indiscriminately around him. He used ice to block everyone's escape route. While he was in a bloodthirsty frenzy, someone approached Otto fearlessly. He admired Otto's ruthless killing style, so Otto slashed his mouth, then accepted him as a comrade. Afterward, they both continued the massacre. At that time, Bezu was also there. When Otto discovered him, Bezu's father sacrificed himself to save his son. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, Arthur arrived and rescued the survivors. Back to the present, Bezu only identified Otto. He still hadn't found the other person. He was sure the person with blonde hair and blue eyes was Otto. However, Aiken didn't believe Otto was the culprit because there was no evidence. Bezu asked both of them for help finding him, but Aiken only wanted to clear Otto's name. Bezu checked the surveillance camera, but the signal was lost. But Midori knew where he was through his phone. They found Otto at the ruins of the shopping mall after the Blue Christmas incident. As for Otto, he met the Wildcat. The Wildcat seemed very happy to see Otto again, but Otto didn't remember who he was. He revealed that after he was captured, he underwent many experiments, but he's still waiting for Otto's comeback. He feels Otto has changed a lot. His eyes are bright and kind, not cold and emotionless like before. Just then, Pezu arrives. He realizes this guy is the Holy Saint's genius. Midori also knows he's the green stray cat who messaged her. Realizing he knows something, Pezu insists he spill everything. Stinger calls in many writers. Han thinks he's stupid for daring to confront the Holy Saint's genius. Bezu is ambushed and has to ask Aiken's group for help. The four split up to handle the situation. Otto rushes to fight Stinger. After a few sword strikes, he realizes this isn't the Otto he knows. Han realizes he's mistaken his beloved and loses interest in playing around. Stinger then summons an experimental rider to fight Otto. As it's a prototype, there are still many glitches. Otto easily slices through the control mass to disable it. Stinger takes the chance to leave, calling Otto number 2. Bezu wants Otto to reveal the truth about the Green Christmas incident. Otto wants to take the blame, but Aiken intervenes. If you didn't do it, don't take the fall for it. At this moment, the rider starts functioning again. After observing its surroundings, it recognizes Otto as its master. Afterward, Midori suggests taking a picture of Otto and the new member and posting it on social media to show off. As soon as it's posted, the water fairy quickly rushes over, and this time, Otto even smiles. From afar, Otto's brother observes everything. In the following days, Otto's group is taken to an abandoned area for training. According to Bond, it's a place the council can't control. Upon arrival, the surroundings are so desolate that grass grows everywhere. Aiken wonders if this is training. Why is there no supervision? Just then, a guy named Jinji arrives and tells Aiken to go home if he doesn't like it. So the two start arguing again. A moment later, Jinji's team arrives. This girl is Hikari. And this is Yukari. Yukari is quite interested in Otto. Once both groups are fully assembled, they proceed into the abandoned area. The whole group encounters a person wearing a horse head mask. Mistaking him for someone else, the group ignores this person. They only stop when this person says he is their supervisor. This person takes off their mask and introduces themselves as Betty from Arthur's team. Jinji is eager to train and asks Betty to start soon. So, she gives them a task immediately. The group splits into 2 teams and finds their way to the designated rendezvous point. After that, they start splitting up. The group enters the forest and encounters Bezu and another person. This is the group's first challenge. This man is Pelu, and they must win a duel against him. A sumo ring is then set up. The group must wrestle Pelu down and proceed. Without hesitation, Aiken takes off his shirt and rushes into the fight. Seeing them like this, Midori thinks they'll become close soon. Boys don't bond without a fight. Midori looks over at Otto and sees him also taking off his shirt, getting ready to fight. In round 2, Otto's group faces a true or false question challenge. The question is, if Brother Virus plays rock, paper, scissors with Brother Cannon, what will Brother Virus throw? Aiken chooses rock and immediately gets covered in mud. Otto chooses correctly because Brother Virus won't throw anything. While washing his face, Aiken looks at the ring his father gave him. Aiken always pursued the trail of the flame. No matter how much time passed, that blazing image was deeply etched into his memory. The sound of a branch breaking behind him startles Aiken, making him turn around. The girl also gets startled and falls off the tree. Aiken rushes over and also falls into the river. Ignoring his own situation, he asks if the girl is alright first. Seeing this, the girl laughs. The two then sit down and chat. She looks at his necklace and realizes Aiken cherishes it greatly. Of course, it's his father's precious memento. The girl gives Aiken a choice. Between this ring and his friends, which would he choose? Aiken thinks it's a rather unfair comparison. She's very envious of him because he has something important to protect. Just then, as Aiken and Otto arrive, the girl next to Aiken suddenly vanishes. In the end, a group of people was hiding in the bushes to observe Otto's team. The council is also observing Otto's team. Some council members are not happy with Arthur's training methods, because it looks more like they're just having fun. As the sun sets, Otto's group reaches the rendezvous point. Jinji's group also just arrives. Betty invites everyone to bathe first. Seeing that Aiken has something on his mind, Otto asks him about it. Aiken recounts meeting the mysterious girl in the forest. After resting, everyone gathers for class. They don't understand the meaning of this training, and even Betty doesn't know. She relays Arthur's words as follows. Every choice comes with its consequences. She then continues to assign tasks to both groups. This time, everyone has to find their own way back to the train station in the dark. That's when they encounter a group of beastmen. One of them transforms into a goat and charges forward. Midori recognizes these beasts as Seiken. They are those who seek power by overcoming species barriers to reach the Holy Gate. According to Midori, they usually aren't this aggressive, but their mission is to reach the station, so they choose to retreat. On the way, Aiken gets separated from the group by the girl from the forest. As they near the station, Otto realizes Aiken is missing, so he and Midori go back to find him. The council suggests calling for backup, but Arthur says Betty is there, so there's no need to worry. She's still concerned because his young age might not hold out until Betty arrives. Ouz and Loki also arrive to observe. Aiken is still on the defensive. He doesn't want to attack others without reason, but the girl is targeting his necklace. The girl then transforms into her beast form and continues to attack. Luckily, Otto and Midori arrive to help, but the girl's group has also surrounded all 3 of them. Otto tells Aiken to say whatever he needs to before it's too late. Aiken then tries to talk to the girl. He wants to understand more to help her, but the girl doesn't care and knocks him down. She believes he'll never understand people like her, just as she is about to attack Aiken to steal his necklace. Betty's group arrives to deal with the situation. They mercilessly wipe out the Seiken, leaving Aiken in shock. Loki realizes Arthur chose to advance to the Holy Gate by brute force. Aiken can only watch the girl he wanted to understand slowly die. She doesn't blame him, as this is the path she chose. Aiken can only cry in helplessness. Otto regrets not being enough. All of his conscious and unconscious being wanted to save that girl. He regrets not being strong enough. At the council meeting of high-ranking members, Arthur presents his findings. The last time the Holy Gate opened, it merged all 3 realms together. This plunged the entire world into chaos. That happened because everyone only cared about themselves and their own world. A council member questions what he'll do next. He just promises to prevent tragedies like the Green Christmas from happening again. The academy was created for Arthur to gather the most talented knights, to help him on his journey to the Holy Gate. The high-ranking members will not interfere and warn Arthur that with greater power comes a higher price. Loki and Ouz are also outside, observing the meeting. Upon returning to the academy, Arthur gathers the members again. He also recounts his plan and asks everyone for help. Of course, they are united in following him. A member asks Arthur what he intends to do once he reaches the Holy Gate. Arthur states that he will restore this world to its true nature. The Holy Gate will grant anyone who passes through it the power to reset the world. He will use that power to do what he must. He cannot reach the Holy Gate alone, which is why he gathered talented individuals here to help him get there. After the meeting, Pezu comes to find Otto's group. The 3 are racing, and Midori comes in first again. Pezu comes to announce that Arthur wants to see them. He also mentions the Holy Gate and how their 3 wishes are about to come true. As Midori and Aiken leave, the little boy appears again to meet Otto. He asks if Otto has decided what his wish is. He's not sure if wishes are real, but at least it's better than doing nothing. He is very happy that Otto has changed and warns that the path he's about to take will likely bring a lot of suffering. And finally, he asks Otto what he wants to change, the past or the future. Before he can answer the boy, Otto goes to meet Arthur. Arthur gets straight to the point, inviting all three to join the journey to the Holy Gate. Besides them, Gingy's group and a few other Academy members are also going. Arthur will become the king of this world. Once he rules this world, his friend will bring happiness to everyone. Midori wonders if his friend is Santa Claus. It sounds like a joke, but Arthur assures them that Santa Claus exists just like the Holy Gate. Up above, Oz is still suspicious of Arthur's decisions. On the other hand, Loki, with his natural impulsiveness, trusts Arthur completely. Because Loki met Arthur when he was a child. When Arthur learned Loki was a god, he was very happy. But when Loki asked if he wanted to be a god, Arthur shook his head. If he could, he'd rather be king. The world at that time was at war, probably because the current king was so bad. If he became king, he would bring peace to the world. Loki began to be swayed from that moment and decided to serve Arthur. Because it is the duty of a god to serve a king. As for Oz, he goes outside with 4 riders, using 4 weapons to shoot straight into the sky. Otto's group goes outside to think about whether to follow Arthur or not. They worry that the Holy Gate only grants wishes to the first person who arrives, not just anyone who passes through. However, the fairies assure them that wishes will be granted to anyone who reaches it. Hearing that, Aiken and Midori decide to go. Otto hesitates, but the water fairy convinces him. Afterward, everyone gathers at the academy. Arthur also introduces Oz and Loki to everyone. Oz is from the dragon realm, and Loki is from the divine realm. Aiken looks at Oz and finds him not very legitimate, while Loki has already made some deal with Gingy beforehand. After the gathering, everyone has their own issues to resolve. Otto meets the little boy again. He is very proud of Otto. Before, he only wanted to be like a shadow, always hidden and unnoticed. But now, he wishes he could decide what he should do. Ignoring life as before is no longer an option. Just then, the water fairy comes to find Otto. Otto calls her name, which makes her very happy that he's opening up to her. Putting that aside, the water fairy tells Otto that Arthur wants to meet him privately. As Otto enters, Arthur confesses to Otto that he lied. He wants to bring the world back to a time when Santa Claus could still bring happiness to everyone. It's because he just wants to repay Santa Claus. When Arthur lost everything, Santa Claus gave him a new beginning. At first glance, it seems like a wish for Arthur himself, but it's not. The reason he tells Otto is because he empathizes with him. Otto sacrifices himself to protect something important to him. He always protects his younger brother by taking all the responsibility himself. People become stronger when they have something important to them. Perhaps that is our soulmate. Back to when Arthur was a child. He was always very lonely. He was born in the human realm, but had no one to raise him. He always felt like he was the only one existing in such a vast world. And then the Holy Gate appeared. Curious, young Arthur stepped in and was taken to a beautiful area called the Divine Realm. But the emptiness in his heart remained. And then a boy appeared. The boy is very surprised to learn Arthur is human. He learned Arthur was abandoned. Coincidentally, today is Christmas, so the boy decides to give Arthur a gift. Arthur wonders who the boy is, and he introduces himself as Santa Claus. Santa Claus then takes Arthur back to his house to keep him safe. And the two meet Santa Claus's younger sister, Lisa, and from then on, the three become best friends. Back to the present. After Otto leaves, Loki comes to find Arthur again. The two exchange a few words. Then Loki wants Arthur to reveal his true reason for wanting to go to the Holy Gate. Arthur whispers to Loki, and the trickster god's expression seems very pleased. Arthur then gathers everyone and shouts the command to depart. Everyone gathers at the top of the academy to hear Arthur's speech. Arthur's goal is to completely destroy the Holy Gate. All suffering stems from that gate. It created 3 worlds, bringing chaos to the world, creating a world that only the rulers understand, covering up the city's dirty secrets. He believes that the current peace is merely a facade. That's why Arthur decided to return the world to its true nature, back to before it was changed. After that, the area is reconstructed. A gate appears, and Arthur opens it. Upon entering, the inside is a completely different space. This path will lead to the Holy Gate. But before they can get there, they must pass through many other gates. Stepping into the first gate, before them is a palace. Halfway through, Arthur immediately orders everyone into combat readiness. Immediately after, a series of automated riders appear, and the one behind it all is Loki. Everyone then fights together. They fight and move into the palace. Greeting them are the northern gods, those who rule over humanity from above. Arthur's team is quite sure they can't defeat a god, so their job is to stall them. Arthur and Otto's group continue to move. While moving, Gingy's group is separated by a fire-wielding god. A girl from Arthur's team tries to stop him. However, she drops her weapon and is attacked. Pelu just manages to save her and bring her to Arthur. Gingy's group also enters another gate. Unfortunately, the heavily wounded girl doesn't make it, and through the pain, Arthur urges the group to keep moving. Arthur's team is no longer just stalling for time, but sacrificing their lives for it. Each person falls one by one. Bezu and Z are separated upon passing through the gate. Al's outside is very worried but can't intervene. In his struggle for survival, he notices this boy. He still has a debt to settle with Arthur, so he can't fall here. Arthur once caught Lance in the middle of punching someone. Arthur, calling himself king, defeated him. A human cannot defeat their king. Arthur believes that a king exists through the faith of their subjects, and subjects receive faith from their king. And if a king is betrayed by his own subjects, then the subjects will also be betrayed by the king. Arthur is determined to kill the god and become king, to prove that if a king can be killed by his own subjects, then the reverse must also be true. That's why he invited Lance to the team, with the sole purpose that Lance will kill Arthur. Lance has no reason to fall before a god. On Arthur's side, he Metzi again. She barely managed to report the situation before collapsing unconscious. Midori is terrified, witnessing so many sacrifices, while Arthur silently admits that it's all his fault to bear. The group continues to move forward, not wanting to betray everyone's trust. Meanwhile, Loki returns to the lab to prepare a special gift for Arthur. Back inside the gate, everyone has fallen. Only Lance and Bezzy still have strength, while the gods remain completely unfazed. Lance plans to fight 6 opponents alone. Just as he looks for a way to fight, the gods leave, because their time here is up. Knowing Arthur is nearing the Holy Gate, Lance is overjoyed, but the gods warn Lance that it's a mistake. On Arthur's side, he destroys a gate to continue forward. If they can pass this gravity field, they'll reach the Holy Gate. Just as Arthur touches and opens the door, a rider suddenly pulls him inside. This is a special rider, possessing 4 elements. Arthur struggles greatly to defeat it. Before he can rest, Loki appears. He drags a sword towards Arthur. Loki reminds Arthur of his own words. Every choice has its own consequences. However, this time the consequences are a bit severe. Loki still gives Arthur 2 choices. First, take this sword and become his own king. Or second, leave his life here. Outside, Otto's group is trying to find a way to open the gate. A moment later, Lance arrives. After hearing everything, Lance decides to trust Arthur because he's not someone who dies easily. Just as he finishes speaking, the gate opens. Arthur holds Loki's sword. Lance silently rejoices, thinking he has succeeded. But who would have thought Arthur would ruthlessly stab him? Loki appears right behind Arthur. The gate slowly closes, and the surroundings begin to collapse, pulling Otto's group deep into the ground. And on the surface, a waterfall rises. A long time ago, an arrogant being built a tower reaching the heavens, to the place where the gods reside. And at that time, the gods issued a punishment, also to teach humanity to know their place as humans. And now the land of the gods, the Holy Gate, is once again coveted by others. This is also how he punishes himself. For a notorious god, for a human, the king has fallen into darkness, right before the threshold of the Holy Gate. Inside, Arthur now meets Loki again. He comes partly to remind him of his teammates' futile sacrifices, also to make Arthur lose his will, making it easier for Loki to control him. Below, the city has issued a widespread lockdown order, forbidding all citizens from leaving their homes unless absolutely necessary. The city cites a system error to avoid public panic. In reality, it's even worse than that. Ouz is summoned by high-ranking council members for interrogation. Ouz claims that Arthur's intention to destroy the Holy Gate is a coup against the council, so Ouz punishes Arthur on their behalf. But the council cannot accept Ouz summoning the northern gods. Ouz argues that he only dared to summon them because Loki was also involved. The council loses patience with Ouz and wants to summon Loki. Just as he is mentioned, the trickster god appears. He confirms that Arthur's coup was real, and that he has dealt with Arthur, and eliminated all of his allies. At the end of the meeting, Ouz immediately confronts Loki about everyone's deaths. Whether Loki tells the truth or not, they are both in the same boat. And again, Loki blames Ouz for summoning the northern gods, which caused their deaths. Ouz is desperate because their original plan wasn't like this. As for the knights, since they are considered connected to Arthur, they have to hide for a while. The fairies have to secretly meet them. The fairies say the council has made no move and is only cautiously observing the knights. The water fairy quickly gives them medicine and clothes, then leaves to avoid suspicion. When the fairies leave, we learn that the place Otto's group is hiding is surprisingly Santa Claus's home. Reviewing the current situation, the council still hasn't made any moves. Gingy, however, believes Arthur's killing of Lance is an act of betrayal. Midori and Aiken are sure Arthur didn't do it. It was all Uchiha or Loki's manipulation. Gingy is grateful that Santa Claus saved his group, but the fact that he's a friend of the traitor makes it hard for Gingy to trust him. Santa Claus asks Gingy if he knows why he was there in time when his group was in danger. It's because he promised Arthur that he would save the children. On Loki's side, he arrives at the lab and orders everyone to prepare, because a great catastrophe is about to happen. This time, Loki even invites the author of the tragedy to join the fun. The poet of Avon. Ayuz is still tormented, thinking he indirectly caused the death of a bunch of kids. Someone comes to give him water and recognizes Midori. Late at night, Santa Claus tells Otto's group the truth about Green Christmas that the council hid. Additionally, there's information about Aiken's father's death, where Midori's friend is. The council also keeps secrets from Gingy's group. Everyone is very agitated upon hearing this. Santa Claus doesn't know much, but he knows the person helping the council hide these things is Loki. After the Green Christmas incident, Santa Claus secretly monitored Loki. The trickster god had manipulated the entire council. Santa Claus believes his motive for doing so is to open the Holy Gate and recreate the world. He wouldn't gain anything from doing that, but the nature of a god still remains. He enjoys watching people fight over the Holy Gate. Santa Claus's mistake at this time was telling Arthur the truth. That's why he decided to risk his life to destroy the Holy Gate. Santa Claus has planned to rescue Arthur. He can't do it alone, so he needs the help of the young generation. This is no different from telling them to go to their deaths. However, Santa Claus believes there's a reason Arthur chose the entire group to be here. That night, as Otto is thinking, the little boy appears again. He again points out Otto's flaw. Sometimes he thinks but doesn't make a decision. He asks Otto once more if he wants to change the future or the past. Otto thinks he doesn't want to change either. When he disappears, Gingy comes to find Otto for something. When everyone is assembled, Gingy's group decides to return to the academy. They still believe Arthur is a traitor and don't trust Santa Claus's words. Gingy wants to confirm a few things before deciding. Aiken, on the other hand, chooses to return to the Holy Gate. Besides wanting to know the truth behind his father's death, he wants to save Arthur and not let everyone's deaths be in vain. Of course, Otto and Midori will follow Aiken, so the two groups say goodbye here. Of course, after returning to the academy, Gingy's group is interrogated, calling someone a traitor, yet betraying Otto's group's hiding spot to Loki. But when they arrive, it's not the right place. In fact, Santa Claus had planned 2 steps ahead. He used a memory scrambling spell. He tricked them all. But Gingy still hasn't given up. Upon returning to the academy, this guy gave false information to the fairies, saying Otto's group had been discovered by Loki and wanted the fairies to rescue them. The fairies believed it and ran a check, and that's how they were tricked. A localized area was immediately established. Outside the complex, a line of drivers was waiting for the Otto team. Old Man Noel advised the group to return to the academy to avoid being caught up in his mess. Of course not. When you throw a spear, you have to follow through with the momentum. So, all 3 refused to leave and decided to help Noel. But Noel told them to leave it to him. Old Man Noel grabbed his baseball bat and headed out to fight. A single swing of his bat caused an explosion. Meanwhile, the Otto team had escaped through an underground pipe. Suddenly, the Otto team was teleported away, separated from the fairies. Loki had asked Shakespeare to continue the story, and the Otto team was sent to another world. The whole group had to flee from the drivers, all while Loki mocked them. A black tiger appeared, making all 3 panic. Now they were on a stage. Aiken tried to leave but was blocked by an invisible wall. Loki asked Shakespeare to prepare some good plays for the Otto team to enjoy. She immediately brought out Hamlet. Macbeth and Othello appeared. All of them were stars in Shakespeare's theater troupe. Loki wanted her to add a little more twist to make it exciting. Then, Shakespeare began to write furiously. The first play was about a girl with a burning heart named Aiken. Next was someone who tried to assassinate the king, but failed and was captured, Midori. Finally, it was a male Cinderella version, Otto. Handsome but shy. Shakespeare became more and more excited as she wrote. Aiken was forced to act, making Bond laugh his head off. Then Othello appeared as the old man. He sold Aiken to a group of nobles. Whenever Aiken displeased them, he was beaten. Midori was still in prison, awaiting execution. And what could a sick Otto do? Back to Aiken. One day, a letter changed the unfortunate girl's life. It was an invitation to a ball for the prince to choose a wife. Aiken was both happy and sad. Because he was poor and wore rags. Where would he get fancy clothes? Then Othello appeared as the witch. Loki found this part a bit boring and wanted Shakespeare to come up with something better. As she pondered, the stage lights suddenly went out. A familiar voice echoed from the direction of the wizard. He said he was happy to see his son again. The scene abruptly shifted to Aiken, and that's when Aiken recognized the man as his father. As for Midori, she escaped prison and returned to meet her best friend. While Shakespeare and Loki were talking, Aiken's father pulled him away. Shakespeare had come up with a great play. Aiken would be in Othello's arms. Midori would flee with Macbeth. And then Otto and Hamlet would hold hands. And they all die. In Otto's world, the last leaf was about to fall. Otto was dying, and a few images of his family flashed before his eyes. Suddenly, his illness vanished. He jumped out of bed and ran. As for Aiken, his father had taken him to a place where Loki couldn't interfere. The first thing he did when he reunited with his father wasn't to hug him, but to give him a tearful punch. He blamed his father for faking his death, which caused his mother great pain. His father could only apologize to him. He then wanted to play catch with him like they used to. Meanwhile, Midori, while running, heard her best friend's voice calling her, and she returned to the past. This time, Midori chased after her and caught up with her friend. Both were overjoyed to see each other again. This time, Midori promised not to leave her friend again. The two then went to the summer festival together once more. Finally, Otto. He had returned to his old house. His younger brother also appeared. His brother began to express regret for leaving at that time. He apologized for not stopping their parents from abusing Otto. He wished he could go back in time to help him. Otto started to feel something was wrong. The brother he knew from before was nothing like this. He was cold, emotionless, and used to look down on him, but now he was speaking sweet words. Otto immediately realized this was still a play. The same went for Aiken. While playing catch with his father, his old man kept rambling about how much he regretted abandoning his mother and him, and his dream was to live happily with both of them. Aiken realized this wasn't the father he admired. He wasn't the type to abandon his dreams like that. The play failed, and Aiken's father was Othello. For Otto, it was Hamlet. Finally, Midori realized the best friend in front of her was fake when she asked about their matching. Kikanes, and her friend knew nothing. So it was revealed that this was Macbeth. All 3 failed their missions. Shakespeare was very surprised by this result. Loki, however, saw no problem. He believed that actors couldn't make a good play It was the characters themselves who truly made the performance. The play temporarily ended here. Loki gave Shakespeare a break to prepare for the next play. The Otto team was taken to another dimension. This time, Otto was taken to the previous battle. The boy appeared, urging him to leave quickly before the Norse gods arrived. As for Aiken, he arrived at a place surrounded by many tanks. After a while, a group of drivers appeared to chase him. When cornered, a sudden blaze swept through, blowing away the drivers. Again, an old man appeared. Of course, after what just happened, Aiken still didn't believe this was his real father. Seeing this, Aiken's father performed a few moves for him. He also revealed secrets, like how Aiken used to hide and cry a lot when he was little. Hearing this, Aiken started to believe him a little. His father advised him to return soon. He would negotiate with the council later. Aiken realized his father was involved with the council and immediately questioned him. Aiken's father knew the council had moved against Arthur and his comrades, because he himself had a hand in it. He revealed that this world changed because of the primordial gate. Many lives were lost because of that gate. But humans could no longer maintain balance without the holy gate. The world his team researched the holy gate to understand it. The drivers Aiken used, the area creation tool called Zone, all came from the research of the holy gate. Killing them to save more people was the right thing to do. The image of his great father had completely vanished. Two opposing ideologies began to clash. The last one was Midori. She was brought to a ruin. While walking, she heard an explosion nearby and went to investigate. And by coincidence, Midori met her best friend. Her friend was happy to see Midori, but Midori was very cautious after being deceived before. Seeing this, her friend threw a few punches at Midori. The fairies had appeared outside the tower. They sensed the Otto team there and entered. Loki appeared in Arthur's mind again. He showed him the entire sequence of events. Loki stated that even if the kids succeeded, there would still be northern gods to stop them. Arthur just laughed, because if that happened, Loki's plan would fail. Loki didn't mind. He intended to use the Otto team to reset the world. However, currently only one of them possessed the key to open the gate. The other two, if they wanted the key, had to experience a feeling called despair. And our friend Gingy was summoned by the council. They didn't question him or anything. They stated that they no longer trusted Loki, and Oz was already gone. Their only hope was Gingy. The council revealed. Both the celestial realm and the demonic realm were making their moves. Currently, only Gingy could reach the primordial gate, because his friends would no longer accompany him. Hikari had been taken back by people from the celestial realm, and Yukari was sought out by people from the demonic realm. Old man Noel seemed to have found what he needed, but a god found him first. As for Midori, after a few sparring moves, her best friend pulled out their friendship keychain. Midori finally understood. However, this friend was different now. She had thought a lot about Midori's words, and now she had new comrades. And she also had a name, Dorothy. However, Midori still felt very regretful about her past words. Dorothy quickly reassured her. While the two were talking, a northern god appeared. Midori told Dorothy to leave because this was her own trial. She then ran to shake off the pursuing god. The same happened with Aiken. A god interfered with the father-son battle. Aiken's father immediately had the drivers drag Aiken away. He continued to merge the remaining drivers into a giant arm and used it to grab the god. After a few dodges, the god was caught, but that wasn't enough to defeat a god. He shattered the arm and lunged, stabbing Aiken's father. His father immediately embraced him. Once again, he apologized to his wife and son, then self-destructed with the god. As for Midori, she was cornered. The god hurled a spear at Midori. Dorothy rushed out to block for her, then pushed her to the ground. Dorothy, just like that, passed away. And Dorothy's comrade was none other than Oz. And so, the remaining two children experienced the feeling of despair to obtain the key. The last one was Otto. He was led by the boy to the primordial gate. The water fairy also found him, and it turned out she had seen the boy a long time ago. The three then continued to move. When they stepped through the next gate, awaiting them was Otto's troublesome younger brother. Apart from Lance, Aiken and Midori, distraught after the death of their loved ones, both met the boy. He told them they were about to experience a despair even more horrific than what they had just endured. After Otto's younger brother killed their parents, he bore the guilt of his brother. In Otto's heart, only regret and despair remained. He invited both of them to the holy gate with him. As for Otto, the two brothers talked about old times for a bit. In the past, their parents were very strict with both brothers. Once, the younger brother made a mistake and was tied to a tree in the rain. Otto could only apologize and do nothing. Conversely, when Otto was tied up, his brother was also sad that he couldn't do anything. And then Otto did everything to protect his brother. He started to deliberately defy his parents, doing everything to make his parents angry with him. And then his younger brother realized Otto was very strong. His brother knew Otto had seen the holy gate when he was little. Only those with enough strength and will could endure seeing the holy gate. Once, his younger brother couldn't take it anymore and set the house on fire. Of course, when their parents found out, Otto again took all the blame for his brother. But his younger brother believed that Otto's actions only caused him more pain. Before he laid hands on their parents, he went to Otto first. He wanted to attack Otto first but stopped when he saw Otto's lifeless eyes. He ran outside and saw the holy gate. His brother thought Otto's lifeless eyes were him looking down on him. He thought Otto was a hypocrite. Why didn't he run away with him then, but chose to bear all the guilt alone? The younger brother's dark, entangled subconscious mind gradually grew, overwhelmed the innocent consciousness that once admired his older brother, and then transformed that consciousness into darkness. The reason Otto didn't choose to leave was because he believed that one day they would both return to warm the home they belonged to. Otto's parents deeply loved both brothers. It was just that their teaching methods were too strict. His mother would still frequently check on Otto. Therefore, he always longed for a happy family. However, his younger brother didn't accept that fake family. When words failed, violence took over. His brother summoned swords and lunged at Otto, ready to give him some love. But Otto still didn't want to fight his brother. Otto dodged and tried to persuade his brother. The water fairy deeply pitied Otto when she learned the truth. Suddenly, the boy appeared and told the water fairy there was a way to help Otto. Outside, the gods had gathered to eliminate Otto. But Oz stood in their way. He deeply regretted Dorothy's death, and this time, he would fight against all the gods. Oz summoned a dragon that blew them all back. As for Otto, when he couldn't convince his brother, he drew his sword to fight. But he went easy on his brother and was cornered. Just as his brother was about to strike Otto, the water fairy took the blow for him. As promised before, the water fairy would help him this time. His brother intended to kill the water fairy, but Otto unconsciously unleashed his power and attacked his brother. His brother, sensing his elder brother's killing intent, was overjoyed. Having achieved what he wanted, he left, promising Otto a rematch. The fairies and Aiken's group arrived. The fairies told the water fairy to save herself. They would handle this. The three's task was to pass through the primordial gate. As they entered the holy gate, they met the boy again. And this was the true form of the holy gate. He also revealed that he was the key to the holy gate. And now, all three just needed to step through, and all their questions would be answered. All three children, with their own wishes, stepped into the gate together. Meanwhile, Old Man Noel had reached the top of the tower, seeking Arthur. Loki attacked first but was counterattacked by Noel. He was determined to reclaim Arthur's freedom, which Loki had stolen. While fighting Loki, Noel approached Arthur and was stabbed by him. But this was also Noel's intention. He immediately used his power to penetrate Arthur's mind. Noel came to bring the rest of the crown to Arthur, but Arthur decided to bear it alone. He pulled the sword out of Noel and brought him back to reality. Loki crowned Arthur. As for the Otto team, he told the three to step forward, changing the future by redoing the past, or changing the past by redoing the future. It was all up to them. All three could choose one of the two. They had the power to choose their own destiny. The three were about to step forward when the gods found them. All of them had their drivers destroyed and were exhausted. Oz fought them all alone. The gods refused to accept humans defiling the holy gate. Ki appeared to repel the gods. The gods argued that humans couldn't control the power to change destiny. Order would disappear, and the world would be plunged into chaos. Ki countered that even gods made mistakes, so humans had the right to choose their own destiny. But the gods snatched away their freedom. The gods still claimed they had bestowed life upon humans. Ki told the Otto team to go ahead. He would handle things here. Ki grew to giant size. Even though he knew humans weren't his allies, neither were the gods. So, let humans decide their own fate. Everyone here had determination. Their true emotions were what brought them here. Some experienced too much pain and thus didn't believe this world had gods. Some searched for their father all this time, and when they found him, he was taken away by the gods. And some relentlessly sought to find their best friend. All of them hated the gods. They united to fight against what was called the Supreme Being. Humans weren't strong, but they wished with all their hearts. That's why he stood with them. He pushed the gods out of the holy gate. Now, no one would block their way. A staircase appeared, requiring only a step to complete. At this moment, their troublesome friend appeared. Gingy argued that the holy gate was not for personal purposes. The rulers of the world. That gate should be used by the World Council to govern this world. If the Otto team stepped through, the council would vanish along with the world's order. This world was inherently unfair. No matter how upright one lived, it would still follow an unpredictable course. No matter how hard one worked, they still couldn't achieve it. In the end, only the chosen ones would rule that world. But that's precisely why we need them. They needed the council to normalize the chaos of the world. Ki stated that was why they were changing it. Of course, resetting wasn't just about making wishes come true. It could also destroy the world created by the gods. The Otto team could control the world as they wished and become like gods. However, there were a few things to note. Everything would be exactly as they wished, and the team could rule the world. Otto believed that most wishes didn't come true. That's why he lived a life where he gave up everything. But Arthur once said, humans become stronger when they have something more important than themselves. Otto had also changed after meeting his friends. And now he believed that what he wanted to do was still more important than Otto's wish. Even if they depended on the gods' power, humans would not change. Humans themselves had to change. Aiken and Midori both agreed with Otto's opinion. Gingy then left. This seemed to be what he wanted to hear. The Otto team decided not to step through the gate anymore. They would not change the world for their own benefit. Otto also thanked Ki for always being there and helping him. He was very happy and left. As soon as the holy gate vanished, Loki reappeared. Suddenly, Arthur swung his sword, completely destroying the tower, destroying the path to the holy gate. Arthur left with Loki. The Otto team and the fairies survived the collapse. More surprisingly, Lance was still alive. He announced that everyone had been revived by someone's power. This time they would leave, but next time they would save Arthur. Gingy went to report to the council. Hikari became the queen of the celestial realm. Yukari became the queen of the demonic realm. Arthur's teammates trained Aiken. Midori gave Dorothy's remaining memento to Oz. Otto spent time playing with the water fairy. And that's all. This is where the movie ends.